when you try to put your all into something, just being a kid, and you were criticized. Let me stop. I don't want to get shamed. I don't want to go down that path. I don't want to look like I don't have it. Somebody criticized me at that age. I remember that because up to that point, I was always getting praised. Good girl, good boy. You got good grades. You're so smart. You're so handsome. You're so perfect. And then when somebody criticizes you, you don't like that feeling. I'm finna record. I know that. I know that. Yeah, you talking about I'm finna record. I know that. Boy, I, sometimes you just get sick. And for me, I'm sick. And I'm so dramatic. Well, let me get this out of the way. Welcome back, My Billy Podcast. Norris Odiase, the host of a podcast. Focus on beating the hell out of your negative voice. I don't know I did that awkward pause, but I said I'm sick because of this reason. I I get sick of tired of needing to feel a certain way to do a certain thing. And I say that because it's like, bro, every time I make this setup, as you see, if you're watching, it's a different setup. Hopefully it looks good to you. If it doesn't, who cares? I literally spend 8 hours on it. I'm not kidding. It's 10:17 on a Saturday night, and I've spent the last 8 hours fixing and flipping and moving. I feel like, what is it, Bo and Joanna Gaines, fixer upper? Because I've been trying to fix some things up. And it just makes me think of life. Like, I didn't want to do this podcast. Well, I did. I'm not going to lie. I really did. It's so hard doing a podcast because you want to think and rack your brain on, things in your life, things in your day, things that you're thinking about. Maybe you're anxious. Maybe you're chilling. Sometimes you're confident, but you're like, oh, I got to be relatable. So I got to be vulnerable and I got to be anxious and but I'm like, I'm not a liar. I don't like doing that. If I feel a way, I'm going to say it. If I don't, I don't. And I think by now, you know that as I shake the whole setup. But I actually did feel good today. I wanted to pod. I was feeling energized, popping. I got my hair done. And I'm not going to lie, it hurts so bad. And it's covered because I don't like the style that it ended up. If she's watching, if she's listening, oops, should have did better. Okay, I'm kidding. But yeah, I got my hair done today. And before I was going there, I always like long drives. So I was driving as my BMW. I told you guys I have an old BMW, 2008 BMW X5 that I don't want to sell because am I cheap? I just am like, bruh, it's functional. My parents are like, bro, you have bread. Go sell it. Do something. And I'm like, nah. But I was bumping it as always. I put these ear pods in, driving about 20 minutes because it makes a sound. I'm like, I probably should get a new car, but I always am busy, whatever. And on the way there, I'm just listening to different things and going over my notes of the week. And sometimes I make these mental notes where I record myself talking to myself, go figure, whatever. But I remember what I felt, how I felt, where I was when I felt this thing. And I always get my voice notes and I said this. And yeah, it kind of is refreshing on a Saturday morning driving to get your hair done to listen to your week and kind of reflect in that way. So I did that on the way to get my hair done, came back, and, I was ready to pod. I literally sat down in a different setup, ready to pod my mindset. But I'm like, Norris, you did just get this new light. It's a new light and an umbrella light that makes it all soft and flattering to the eye, not just sharp and harsh because I was using like a ring light, whatever. It took a while to get in, and the stand took a while to get in. It's heavy. And so I rearranged it. I'm like, bro, you just got this new light and everything. Why don't you set it up nicely? Try to get the angles. Watch one YouTube video, Norris. Don't watch hella. Watch one YouTube video. When you listen to me say this, I was going to say some outlandish number of YouTube videos that I watch. I'm not a liar. But I'm telling you, I watched like 30. I watched 30 back to back to back. YouTube setup, YouTube home studio setup, YouTube cinematic lighting setup. And I'm like, bro, I'm not an expert at this. I don't know what I'm doing. I still don't. If I look, shut up. But that's why shout out to the ones on listening through your headphones while you're whipping to school, while you're whipping to your work, your job. Anywhere you're going, shout out to you because you're not actually seeing me right now. But I say all that to say, I always get in this mode. I'm sick of being myself sometimes. I'm sick of this mindset that I have that, okay, I got to feel energized to do a pod, or I got to feel energized to keep going. I got to feel great to get on here and come with life and enthusiasm. But I'm like, no, like I made a commitment. I'm going to honor my commitment. And a lot of the times, a lot of us, this is literally a metaphor, analogy, whatever. Sometimes I get confused on that. I don't know why. I know it. I'm not a scholar, but I'm not an idiot. Not saying you're. Anyways, either one of those, whatever it is, I think it's a perfect example of that. It's just how many of us need to feel a certain way. And it's so funny. No shade on any guest that's come on, but like certain guests that's come on, they might drink some wine or hit the pan or go sedate themselves, feel a certain way to feel and actually get down into the deep rooted thoughts, the feelings, the emotions of how they actually feel or how they did feel, the real suppressed things. It takes something to get that out of them. The two probably don't align in my example and what I just said, but that's another thing. Creativity. I always say this, and I'm bouncing around. This is almost like a talking tough, but by now, this is how I am. You know that. But I always say this around my friends, and I'm wrong for saying it, but I say it. I'm like, I'm not a creative. I'm not a creative. And I say this now. I'm like, okay, having a podcast, starting a YouTube, doing this for some time now, I'm actually seeing myself as a creative person. And I got to stop saying that because whatever I say it will happen in my life. That's what I believe. And it's like creativity is picking up two different things that you love and finding out new ways to do it in interesting and thought provoking and engaging ways and entertaining ways. That's creative. Example for me, I talk about God a lot. I'm a child of the Lord. I'm in his hand. The spirit of the Lord is in me, within me, beside me, going straight at you with force. I always say, me, I'm beautiful. God and beautiful, I'm beautiful. God made me beautiful. I think that's pretty creative. It's just the idea that you're taking two different things from different places or your style and who you are, like you're one of one, and placing it wherever you go. That's creative. And I say that because a lot of times, if you're listening, if you're watching, we get in these modes that we think this version of us, this feeling of how we feel about this thing is how we will always feel. And if we feel this way, like I don't want to do this, and I'm not that great at this, that we write it off. And I'm racking my brain and I'm trying to really like zero in on that point because I'm passionate about this. But again, I've been doing this for 8 hours. Like I'm not as sharp as I want to, but allow me to talk it through. It's just like when we're in these times in our lives, we get so fixed on the traits that we have. We get so fixed on the abilities that we hold. We get so fixed on the level of increase or where we can get to. And if you're listening, I would just ask you one question. If you're one of those people, if you raise your hand and say, I definitely do that. Like, I think I can't honestly jump or pass this threshold. I would ask you, when did you first get criticized for something? If you were to take it back, adolescent years, childhood years, early days, when you tried to do something, when you tried to dive into something new, when you saw the kids at school doing one thing and you're like, oh, I want to try. When you tried to put your all into something, just being a kid, and you were criticized. And, in those moments, those early adolescent years, those defining moments, they can cause us to go either two different ways. One, let me stop. I don't want to get shamed. I don't want to go down that path. I don't want to look like I don't have it. Somebody criticized me at that age. I remember that because up to that point, I was always getting praised. Good girl, good boy. You got good grades. You're so smart. You're so handsome. You're so perfect. And then when somebody criticizes you, you don't like that feeling. And when I use that example, sometimes it can be like, that's kind of reaching. And that negative voice, my mind believes like, shut up, bro. It doesn't make sense. You're just talking. You're just trying to grasp at ears, throwing darts, seeing what lands. But I'm like, shut the hell up. If God gave me this to say, boy, you think my black ass ain't going to say it? Yeah, you talking about? A lot of us, that's where it started. And, it's tough because knowing that it started so early, and that you've trained yourself in this one thought, in this one mode all your life up to this moment, it may seem like it's not even a thing. Like you may be listening like, no, shut. What are you? I don't have that. I don't have that issue. And I'll ask you this. When's the last time you tried something new? When's the last time you voluntarily said, hey, I'll do something that I'm not great at, that I'm in front of a bunch of people at, that there is some chance of vulnerability that I might not be good at it because I've never done it before. in front of a stage, in front of a crowd, in front of on TV, in front of millions or thousands of people to listen and see, I'll do it, even though you've never done it. When's the last time you've actually done so? Courage. And it sounds crazy. It sounds a little rough, but bruh, I think the absence of fear, nothing that you're just so confident in is not courage. Literally, the fact that you have that fear, that little thought, that suggestion, that idea in your head that says, maybe I'm not familiar with that thing there. You see, I can't do that. I can't move into that. The fact that you have that kind of thought, again, it poses you a question. Should I dive into this? Or should I be like, nah, I don't know that. I'm unfamiliar with that. And a lot of us are hurting ourselves and hurting the next versions of ourselves and in the journey of the climb and where we're trying to go. We're trying to go to these new heights, but we still have that old mindset off a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, because somebody said, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that again. You sucked at it. That's not your best day. Somebody that probably had somebody say that to them and we grabbed onto what they said. It's so annoying. I'm so passionate about it. I have this like weird different setup. I'm trying to like navigate and be Norris, but then kind of, say something powerful and impactful. But I'm like, bro, this is Norris. This is who I am. And whatever flows, I just spent 8 hours on this crazy setup. But I just know that the most important thing in this part of my life is knowing that I can and acting on that thought that I can. And if you're listening, if you're watching, I know it's the same for you. You know that you can do something, or even if you don't know that you can do something, sometimes the growth mindset you don't even need the confidence. You don't even need the confidence when you're in that mindset of growth. Oh, I'm not confident. That's why I'm trying to learn this thing. That's why I'm doing it. I don't know how to do it. I'm confident in saying that I don't know how to do it. My hands are up, shaking like a damn stripper. Do strippers shake like this, like a clown with? If you're listening, I have like 2 of my hands up, yay high to the head, eye level, and I'm just shaking like I got jazz hands. I don't think strippers shake like that. Anyways, like, I don't even know what I just said, but I just know that literally having the mindset focused on growth and what you can do and who you can be and what you can actually become with the traits that you have in you. I know that's growth. I know that's getting somewhere because it's like, well, I'm a child of God. I am. This is Mind Bully Podcast, the host. And God is no respecter of persons. He gave you little sauce. He gave me sauces. You think I don't got that Chick-fil-A? Anyways, let me get on top. He gave me sauces, all right? And I know whatever sauce I got, if you like that and I want to try it on this day, I'm going to try it. And it's the ability to grow and to become better at that is why I try it. Even now, I don't feel, and I get sick of, I got to feel great before I get on this pod and talk. No. And it's one thing, it's like you want to put out something purposeful. If you have a position, let's say you're a teacher, let's say you're a coach, let's say you're some type of person in leadership. Let's say you're just you. And that's plenty enough. Whatever. You know that when you open your big fat mouth, I'm talking to me now, you want to speak life into people. You don't want to miss any words. You're so analytical. You have a paper here, a binder here. I just dropped. I don't care. You have so many papers. Look. Like if you saw this room, I write so much all the time. And then when I get behind a podcast, I think, I got to read what I said then. Where I said something good 2:30 on Tuesday. Where did I find it? Where is it? I look at here. Where is it? Bro, will you relax? I have this so fixed mindset that says, I can't grow out of that great thought that I had, that moment is just going to be that moment again. And then I have a mindset of, when I get behind the podcast, I better have something new to say. Even though you writ all that down and you studied all this time and you're just reading and trying to put in new information to put out life and speak life into people that I got to remember everything that I did. It's powerful to know that we can grow in every stage of our life, even in this stage of the anxiety to do a podcast or the anxiety to reach out and to schedule a guest, because I don't want the guest to come on and it's not a beautiful production. And I don't want the guest to come on if we're not in person. And I don't want the guest to come on if we don't have 3 cameras and a beautiful lighting setup and a camera crew to do all the cuts and edits and And you might think that's actually crazy. That's me. That's me. Literally, that's me. Because it's like, as you grind, I'm like, I should be growing. Yes, you have this growth mindset, North, but you should be growing. And it should be like visible steps. And you should be here and here and here. And not knowing that growth is actually becoming resourceful and not wasting money. Not saying it's a waste to do all that, but becoming resourceful and digging in your heels and saying, hey, you actually have some things around the house that you can together a setup. You actually had, and blessed with people that made a sign that says Mind Bully Podcast. You can actually put it up for once. It is the Mind Bully Podcast. Hey, you actually have a nice camera and lights and, nice stands and a Rodecaster Pro 2 that sounds good and a good mic that you could actually like fix some things up and make yourself look presentable. And, if you want a cinematic view, there is something called YouTube that you could 30 videos or not, get it done. Like, who is going to feel sorry for you? Don't feel sorry for yourself, because feeling sorry for yourself will have you in a damn straitjacket, not moving and not grinding and not progressing and not growing and not giving all you are. Who the hell are you? And a lot of times that's us. That is us. We forget that, we can actually be resourceful. Resourcefulness is actually inspiring. You could build on your creativity, knowing that, that little angle when I shook some things up in my house, maybe I am Bo and Joanna Gaines. You think this ain't Fixer Upper? Boy, Fixer Upper your damn life. Fix up your damn life. And I'm saying that because I'm speaking at me too. I'm looking down this wide angle lens with my eyes open. And I know on all the clips, it looks crazy because my eyes, I'm still learning how to look at the camera, but that's growth. Like, I'm about to go to LA 2 days from now. Well, this is Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'll be in LA. And it's for this program for the NBA Players Association broadcaster program. And quite frankly, I was not going to go for some circumstances, but I'm going. And the reason I'm saying this is because I don't want to be no broadcaster. I'm saying, what I look like in strike. Do they broadcast bowling, Nords? I don't know. Oh, that's not bowling. That's baseball. Anyway, and he dunked slammer jammer. You got it. It actually wasn't that bad. But in my head, my mind believes like, bro, you're not no broadcaster. Don't go. Don't go. You're not going. Don't go. And something actually made it, tough for me to actually go. But then I was sitting here and I always wake up in the morning. My process. I get and I speak to the Lord, because if I'm breathing, how dare I walk out this little door and not talk to Pops? It is not me. It cannot never happen. Anyways, so I start the day. I worship because the Lord inhabits the praise of his people. And I'm one of them. Hey, you talking about? Sign me up. I'm one of them. Let me know. I just want you to know that I'm one of them. Chest to the sky. I'm one of them, because a lot of people out there spewing nonsense, fear. It's all fear and all for clicks. And I'm one of them, a child of the living God. Hell you talking about? Anyways, praise. I always listen to the same worship songs. It's weird. Like probably Chandler Moore or Maverick City Music, same thing. Dante Bowe and different ones. And anyways, let me move on. Anyways, I listen and then I pray. And I do these same like sayings, and I might do this on the podcast one day, like, because it's actually powerful, that I say every single day, because the power of your words do something. This isn't a woo woo. This is a life. Let there be life. And boy, there was life and light. Duh. Anyways, where is my point? Here it is. I wake up after I thank him. I see the evidence of your goodness, everything you're doing in my life. I worship. I pray. I do my scriptures. And then I ask. Yeah, I make the ask because that's my pops. And I ask. I make my claims. And one thing that I ask is about this podcast, world-renowned podcast, multi-million-dollar podcast. Not for me, is because I know something is powerful and these stories are powerful and it needs to be out. And, you need funds and backing to push this to your home and your home and your home. Anyways, put me in front of doors, in front of people where I can shine, where your light shines through me. Lord, I'm an open vessel. I'm just a container. And you're using me to do greater things. If I feel the urge and the inkling to write all this into, heavy is the head to wear the crown. If I feel so heavy all the time, like, you putting something to me that like, it's not for me. So I got to get it out. So I'm like, put me in front of doors, in front of new people. In comes this opportunity of an NBA Players Association. It's an invite only thing, broadcasters program. And I was talking to my dad about it. And I was just like, Dad, should I go? Like, I'm not a broadcast. He was like, boy, before I even say he said, boy, go. Because in life, and I say this too, in life, I always say this on this pod even. Say yes to things. Yes, yes, yes. And then when you make it and when you get to a level where, okay, I can start saying no to certain things, you never know what path you're going to take. So a lot of us have this fixed mindset of, I am not a basketball. Well, I'm not a basketball player, or I'm not just a basketball player. I'm not a broadcaster. Let me say no. When it's an invite only thing and you can meet so many different people and make so many different connections. And even if can I spit it out? Even if it's not about the connection, you can serve somebody new and that they can tell somebody, oh, look at that kid. He got the spirit of the Lord within him. That's probably not what they're going to say. They're like, oh, he's great. But then when they come to me, they say, I tell them, hell no, it ain't me. Anyways, whenever you got moments in these rooms, I feel like it always happens at the younger days to impact people, to serve people, to be around people that can impact you, to pour into you. And you've been in the room praying in the tongues, all that about God opening doors. And when he does, you want to close that door because it's not the way you would like that door to be open, or it's not a way that you're familiar with. But you know what? Everything in life, growth looks unfamiliar. In everything in this life, growth looks unfamiliar. And if it's familiar, it's probably not growth. And you're probably just sitting there like this, probably shaking, probably praying, asking for the next prayer. And he like, bro, I just gave you somebody. I can go and beat down that bush, that I don't care, that bell, 8 hours of editing, not editing, but 8 hours of this setup. My mind is not fried. I'm alive, but it's just like, bro, it's so annoying when I get into that mode. And I know if you're listening, that's you too, because you're one way. Even if you really want to do something different, you still hear that voice that criticized you when you were a kid, that holds you and has you staying in that moment in that straitjacket, immovable, not moving for any damn thing. And sometimes even that person that criticized you as a kid learned from their mistake and is like pouring into life, pouring just love and encouragement into you because they've grown as a person now. And you can't even realize it because you're stuck on what somebody said. Your mind really has you fixated on a moment in time and not the moments that you could grow into through pushing through that unknown. I don't know. It's something I got to work on. It's something I know I need to work on because, bruh, I'm in here sweating. And it's not that, hell yeah, he getting in a good workout. So it's stress. And it's not like stress, but it's like a lot of times you accept it. Like, oh, I'm so stressed. I'm so stressed. But then when you look at it, and I'm big on this term, the outside lens, when I look at it from a different lens, can I spit? Can I speak? When I look at it from a different lens, a different perspective, I always say, bro, what the hell are you stressed about? You are blessed. Is to be thankful for everything you've got and to know that this tension that you're feeling is not unjust. It's not just for nothing. It's for a moment in time that you can't even see yet. Right now, I'm studying all these things, writing, and I feel sometimes nerdy that it's 10 o'clock on a Saturday night. I should be talking to somebody. That's another thing. I got a fixed mindset with relationships. I just think like, oh, it's going to come to me. No, like if you want something, it's like basketball. It's like a job. Go apply. Go actively apply. Search. Do something. Yo, just imperfect woman ain't going to come to you while you praying. God, give me a wife. I pray. God, I'm a believer. Even if you pray, God works with us, not for us. Get your ugly ass up. Pretty your ass up. It gonna make it happen. I say that because again, it's like I am such an energetic, going after, passionate guy, right? Whatever. But in some areas of my life, I have this fixed mindset to where it's like, and I've used fixed mindset like 40 times today. I don't care. That's what I'm feeling right now. It's like, this is how I've always been with relationships. I don't know how to do it different. So I'm going to stay. And maybe if I swipe on a new Rye app that I'm trying, I'm going to find the love of my life. Maybe if I send a message to people every now and then, it's going to work out. No, it doesn't work like that. To get somewhere new, you have to do something new. And who the boo-boo the fool that don't actually agree with that? Me. And I got to change that. It's like we got to get going in every aspect of our life, in every area of our life. It's like fitness, emotional fitness, spiritual fitness, mental fitness, psychological fitness, everything, fitness, growing. It's that tension that actually makes us fit, buff. Barack. What? Barack is not big. What was that guy's name? Arnold Schwarzenegger. There we go. I said Barack. I'm tired. Anyways, it's just important. And I had a thought to say on that, but I just know that it's I just know that it's important to have that direction first. And again, I always go to the source for my direction. And when I go to the source to my direction, I can find people, whether it's something I want to learn, mentors, people that's done it, friends, they can give me some direction as well. And then when I get direction, oh, I can go back and fine tune. After I got the guidance, the direction, I can fine tune my path of, okay, how have I been doing it? How have I seen things? I can go through that inspection process mentally to where it's okay. That thought that I had from age 4, I can take that out because it's not the truth. And I can cultivate a new thought. I can cultivate a new version of myself that I haven't even seen yet through that tension, through that progress that I will make. So I know that once you do that, you get the direction, you have guidance, you inspect your thoughts, redirection comes. And when redirection come, it's like a 360. They gonna look at you and be like, I don't recognize little girl. That little girl shining, boy. I ain't never seen her sing in her life. And now she's singing like a damn canary. You damn right. Because somebody worked through that stage. And I can talk about growth and working and all this stuff every single day. And I think that it's important because I just know that God is reversible. And I say that God is reverse able. He's reverse able to reverse things in your life. But first, you got to reverse them to help him do so. Life, man. I'm like looking down, looking at different places because it's like I haven't felt like this in a while behind this podcast. I think like lately I've been kind of sharp, but right now I'm tired and I just know that I have a lot of thoughts running on different ways I want to take it. But I've been learning, and a good friend of mine told me less is more. And you don't have to pour in everything into one podcast. Sometimes give space, like that was strategic space, breathing room. And that's another thing I'm learning to, give off a powerful message and also being yourself, authoritative, powerful message. I'm just learning different ways to communicate. And while you're learning communication, while you're learning how to do a podcast, while you're learning how to now turn on the video and look at the camera all differently, and while you're learning how to do camera stuff, and while you're learning all these things, it's important. If you're listening, you're learning so many things in your life. It's so important to give yourself grace and to know that, okay, today I'm showing up for the next version of myself. I'm not waiting for me, myself, and I to feel a certain way to do a certain thing. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I made that commitment to myself previously. This is now June, 6 months into the year. I made a commitment to myself January 1 to do X, to do the thing. And why am I listening to the way I feel? Why am I listening to my mind bleed that has my thoughts wrapped up and then has me feeling a certain way and has me behaving a certain way? And the way I'm behaving is not behaving, not doing anything. Why am I listening to that when I can go back and look at my notes and see what I wrote and see my dreams and see my aspirations? That's so important to have mental markers. And that's something I want to add to this podcast. A mental marker. It's a point in time where you thought a certain way and that you felt a certain way and you did a certain thing despite the way you felt. Oh, there's people that said I was never going to be a basketball player. There's people that said I could never get to this level. There's people I said I can't do X and do this and do this. There's these moments in your life that you have that people said you could never do it. And look at you. First in your family to graduate. First in your family, 6 figures. First in your family to be a professional. First in your family to be a leader, to be seen as people, notoriety, maybe famous. First in your family. Nobody ever expected that, but you did it. Mental marker. You could look back and say, yeah, I did it. I grew. I wasn't in that fixed mindset that I had. I grew and became this new person. Now, what's the other mental marker we can have? What are we striving for? What are we pushing for? What are we looking forward to? Maybe we don't have that mindset or that thought yet, but we have some people that we look to and admire, that people that inspire us to do the next thing. Can we look at their journey and say, oh, okay, I don't necessarily like how they're moving. I'm not saying they're just everything I want to be, but I am inspired by how they did the thing they did. I'm inspired by the process that it took. I'm inspired by that mindset that they had to do the thing from nothing to something, their rags to rich story. I'm inspired by that. How can we take a mental mark and say, that's what I want to do with my life? That's who I want to become with my life. That talent is not a fixed thing. That intelligence is not a fixed thing. That these traits to do greatness is not a fixed thing, that I can grow into it, but it takes the work to do it. Mind Bully Podcast, Norto Diase. This has been an episode focused on beating the hell out of your negative voice. If this is your first time listening to the Mind Bully Podcast, do me one favor. Rate and review this podcast. It means the world to me to see this thing also grow and not stay fixed at one level forever. So I know this is so impactful for so many people to listen and hear different stories. So toodaloo on YouTube. Toodaloo. Like, comment, subscribe if you like this. I don't know how to do this, but down below. Bye. Pretty good. That's that.